Here's your smart fact of the day. Some of us may have heard of something called product market fit. Product market fit is when your product connects to the market and is serving a need that is recognized by the market as useful, important, urgent, etc. But have we heard of content market fit? Content market fit is, let's say you're trying to build some kind of content. So it's about what you want to make as content, what the audience actually wants to watch as content, and what the platform wants to serve up as content. So it's the sweet spot between what you want to make, what the audience wants to watch, and what the platform is trying to put up on itself. That is content market fit. Welcome to Smarter with Sid, and in today's episode, what we are trying to do is figure out what content market fit actually means for all of us. So let's go. The term product market fit came into vogue quite a few years ago now, about 10 more than that years ago. And product market fit was because there were a lot of people who were developing products and then trying to connect it to the marketplace and then realizing that it's a big flop because their product was not being accepted by their target segment or whatever. And so then they had to go back to the drawing board, relook at their assumptions, and there's a whole methodology around that. And eventually, after a lot of changes and a lot of additions or deletions, you finally come across a certain kind of product market fit wherein whatever you're trying to offer is accepted by the market. For example, YouTube, very few people know that started off as a dating site, right? And then it suddenly found out that it has no product market fit as a dating site. This was like early 2000s. So obviously Tinder and all were quite a long way away. And YouTube did not succeed at that. And thank God for that. It found product market fit in the avatar that it is currently. But today we are not trying to talk about product market fit, but something which is a sort of a cousin of product market fit, which is content market fit. Why has this become more important? Let's first try to understand the context behind the importance of content market fit. With the ever increasing sophistication of the customer, we are beginning to understand that advertising and the typical way of traditional marketing and all the methods and techniques are having lesser and lesser impact and therefore results that we are all seeing. And so therefore the shift has moved towards content. So each brand that is trying to make its mark on a particular target segment is trying to develop a certain kind of content which goes well and beyond the typical advertising that is being seen or campaigns that are being seen. So that's why the term organic content came into being, because you're creating content which can be consumed by your target segment and therefore drive some kind of connect. Which is why it becomes extremely important for us in today's age to actually understand how we are supposed to build up this content. And let's quickly understand that a lot of brands are trying to do this, but very few are actually succeeding because they're still coming at it from the old school perspective, which is about trying to sneak in an advertising angle or an advertising perspective. And I don't think that that is necessarily the right way to go about it. I think whether you are a person trying to build your own personal brand, or whether you are a corporate trying to build a company level brand, or a product or a service, or even a startup, you have to start developing content right from the get-go. So that is the context really, and the context helps us understand, the importance of content and something that connects to the marketplace in a meaningful way. So this content market fit becomes very important. Now, how the hell do you achieve this content market fit? Let's look at these three things that we spoke of in the smart fact that I shared with you. If I look at the first thing, it's what you want to make. So it's quite evident that the only thing that you would consistently do and enjoy doing and enjoy exploring and enjoy doing more of and doing it consistently and all of that, right? And of ever improving quality is the content that you want to make. But that's just one pillar. If it's just that one pillar, it may or may not work necessarily because it may not be what the second pillar wants, which is the audience. The audience is obviously wanting a certain kind of content. The audience doesn't really care too much about, a specific kind of gravity or something, unless and until you're a quantum physicist, for example. So obviously what your target segment wants as content becomes extremely important. But that's not enough as well, because you might have something that you like to create and what your target segment wants to watch, but it may not be served up on the platform. I want to take an old school example to explain what this actually means. So let's assume that you are a left-leaning writer, left-leaning journalist, and your target segment is also left-leaning, which does read a popular newspaper which serves the general public. So it's got left-leaners and right-leaners and stuff like that. But the fact is that if the platform's policy, in this case the newspaper's policy, is to promote right-wing content, then you are not going to get any mileage or any purchase out of that platform. So it becomes extremely important for us to recognize what the platform wants to serve as content as well. So this is the sweet spot, really. Now, is this enough? Is this understanding enough? Not really. Because what you want to make might also change over a period of time, because you might like doing a certain thing for 6 months or a year, but then you might get quite fed up with it. The second thing is what your audience wants might also evolve and should evolve over time, because the audience matures and the audience also starts looking at different things. The audience gets bored of your content. So that's the second pillar changing. And the third pillar changing is the platform is trying to mirror what the audience wants. And the platform also has a certain policy or a philosophy. Like, for example, Instagram is all about living life large, for example. I know I'm oversimplifying it, but Instagram is all about living life large, living life to the fullest, and showcasing all the beautiful elements of life. And that also evolves over a period of time, because, Instagram during COVID times was different from Instagram during other times. And plus, add to it the algorithm because of a new feature that's added. So, for example, today Instagram might be promoting its reels. Yesterday it was promoting stories. Before that it was promoting posts. Tomorrow it might be something different. So that is the third pillar, which is also evolving. Now, here is the conundrum, isn't it? Because over a period of time, the content market fit is not like the product market fit. Product market fit is probably more stable, because once you have a product, it fits, connects to the marketplace, then you can scale it up. You can put in more resources towards it, and you can actually see it build up and sweep the market. But content market fit is not like product market fit, because content market fit also has to continuously change. Today's content market fit may not necessarily be content market fit for you 2 months downstream or 6 months downstream. It is much more dynamic. It's much more dynamic. So what should you do? What should you do? First of all, if you're trying to find content market fit, and whatever your goals and metrics may be, so you say, okay, I want XYZ as this is what I consider success. And once my content reaches these many followers or these many views, then I have that fit. Then you should be doing a lot of experimentation with different kinds of content, trying to understand what the platform wants, trying to understand what you like doing, etc., etc., etc. But even when you do reach that content market fit, you cannot stop. You have to look at trends. You have to look at how your audience is evolving. You have to look at how the platform is evolving. You have to look at different platforms. And you also have to keep a very steady eye on how you're evolving and your threshold of boredom. Yeah. So this is a much more dynamic thing. Now you might say, oh my God, this is so much of work. And yes, it is, which is why influencers get paid such a lot of big bucks, right? Because they are actually doing this different quality of hard work that we don't see, because it's always under the radar. But let me put it to you from a different perspective. I have particularly enjoyed trying to find my content market fit. And I was inspired, of all people, by a guy called Michael McIntyre, who was a comedian who was struggling, a stand-up comedian based out of the UK, who was struggling for the longest period of time, because even though he had a funny personality and, he had some funny jokes, they were just not connecting. And then one day he connected, and then he just found that content market fit, blew him up, but then he kept evolving his act and material over a period of time. And there are so many influencers who are doing the same. So I would say it's an exciting thing. So you can look at it as a sort of a drudgery or a task. In that case, I would suggest choose some other line of work. But if you are in this line of work, then embrace it as an adventure, because boy, is it an adventure. I hope you like this particular episode of mine on Smarter with Sid. Many more to come from where this came from. And if you like this episode, do like and subscribe to my podcast. I will keep trying to make all of us smarter with the content that's out there. And hey, if you like content like this, just check out IVM Podcasts, the app, the website, or wherever you get your podcasts from. They've got some wonderful stuff for you. And if you like me, I'm the Traveling Professor, and you can connect with me on LinkedIn and on Instagram. You can follow me. Until next time.